A young and ambitious archer sought out the most respected wise man on the mountain to prove his mastery. Eager to impress, the young man stood before the target, drew his bow with flawless strength, and released the arrow. He looked at the old man, waiting for praise. But the master, watching the scene with calm eyes, simply shook his head. "Your technique is good," he said softly, "but your mind died before the arrow even hit the target." Confused and upset, the young man shot back, "I hit the exact center. What do you mean my mind died?" The wise man walked over, took the bow, and replied, "You lowered your bow too early. Your eyes left the target before the arrow arrived. Your body lost its posture the moment you let go of the string. You rushed to celebrate because you only care about the trophy, not the journey. A true master archer holds their posture, their gaze, and their breath even after the arrow hits the target. The shot doesn't end when the arrow is released. It ends when the echo of its flight has completely faded into the silence of the mountain." Do you remember who you were before the world taught you to live in a rush? Look at yourself right now. You live in a constant state of urgency. You do one thing while thinking about the next. You open a door, and before it even closes, your mind is already at the end of the hallway. You eat while staring at a screen, reply to an important message while walking, and rush through your daily tasks just to get them out of the way, as if you're waiting for life to finally begin. But life is slipping through the exact cracks you leave behind. We feel a chronic exhaustion that no weekend can cure. The reason is simple. Our attention is fractured. Your mind isn't a river flowing in one direction. It's a broken sprinkler spraying water in 100 directions at once. How many times have you locked your front door in the morning, only to stop in a panic 10 minutes later because you can't remember if you actually turned the key? How many times have you chewed a mouthful of food without tasting its flavor or texture because you were processing a problem at work? This isn't a memory problem, it's a lack of presence. When you act on autopilot, you are physically in one place, but your mind is a ghost traveling hours or days into the future. You are splitting your energy, and that division is the main source of your anxiety. Fear, at its core, is just the mind trying to solve problems in a future that doesn't exist yet, while abandoning the only real ground you have, the present. Notice how you treat your things, how you end conversations, how you leave rooms. We live with a clumsy haste. We let doors slam shut on their own, leave drawers half open, and cut phone calls short, saying a rushed goodbye while already reaching for our wallets. We think those little endings don't matter. We tell ourselves, it's just a door, it's just a glass, it's just a chore. But a messy ending creates a chaotic beginning. If you finish a task carelessly, you enter the next one agitated. You carry the rush of the previous action on your soul like mud. By fracturing your days, you fracture your life. The ancient Eastern masters noticed that the quality of an action isn't just measured by how you do it, but by its lingering awareness. What is lingering awareness? It's the presence that remains after the physical action is done. It's energy that doesn't just vanish all at once. Instead, it settles gently, like the golden dust floating in the air after a temple bell stops ringing. When the master calligrapher finishes drawing a circle, he doesn't immediately drop his brush to admire his work. He holds his posture. He maintains his breath. He looks at the paper with the same deep respect he had before he started. He knows that the end of one action is the birthplace of the next. If you can bring this wisdom into your daily life, your relationship with stress will completely change. Lingering awareness is the habit of giving a little pocket of space to everything you do.
When you set a glass on the table, you don't just drop it from a millimeter away. Your fingers stay with the glass until it rests fully on the surface, and only then do you gently pull your hand away. When you close a book, you don't slam it down. You close it gently and keep your eyes on it for a second, absorbing what you just read.
This extra second of pause isn't a waste of time. It's an anchor for your mind. It's the buffer that stops the chaos of the outside world from pulling you under. Lingering awareness teaches you that there is no rush, because there's nowhere to get to that is more important than where you already are. We live in a society suffering from a terrible sickness, an obsession with the final result. We're only happy if we win the medal, get the promotion, gain the followers, or finish the task. We've turned the process into an annoying enemy, a boring hurdle to clear as fast as possible to reach the finish line. But the result is a ghost. It lives in the future, and the future is out of your hands. When your mind is focused solely on the goal, your body fills with tension. You become rigid, impatient, and prone to mistakes. The archer who only thinks about hitting the bullseye tenses his shoulders too much. The writer who only thinks about finishing the novel writes soulless sentences. The student who only thinks about passing the exam studies to memorize and forgets to learn. The wisdom of continuous presence asks you to flip the equation. Put all your focus into how you perform the action and let go of the result. When your focus is on the purity of the action, excellence follows naturally. If you take care of your footing, your posture, the rhythm of your breath, and the honesty of your effort, the target takes care of itself. The arrow will hit the center, not because you desperately wanted it to, but because your entire body was exactly where it needed to be.
Doing things with your full attention is an act of self-respect. It means choosing that this moment of your life, even if it's just wiping down the kitchen counter or writing a mundane email, deserves your best self. When you aren't torn apart by wanting a specific result, work stops being a chore and becomes a moving meditation. Your peace no longer depends on whether the world applauds you at the end. It depends on how gracefully you move in the here and now. We often think spirituality or peace of mind belong in special places, distant temples, silent meditation retreats, or holy mountaintops. But if your peace needs perfect conditions to exist, then it isn't real peace. It's just a temporary illusion.
True presence is built on the altar of the simple things, in the daily routines we usually ignore. Learning to live with absolute presence means taking the most ordinary activities of your day and treating them like sacred rituals. Take eating, for example. How do you usually eat? Probably with a fork in one hand and your phone in the other, shoveling food down automatically while your brain processes world tragedies or strangers' opinions on a screen. You aren't eating, you're just fueling a machine on autopilot. Absolute presence invites you to change this. It asks you to hold your utensil mindfully, to look at the colors on your plate, to chew slowly, appreciating where the food came from, feeling the temperature, and tasting every bite as if it were your first or your last. The same goes for washing the dishes, making your bed in the morning, or wrapping up a chat with a friend. When you wash a dish, don't just do it to get it over with. Make washing the dish the entire point. Feel the warmth of the water, the smoothness of the soap, the weight of the plate. When you talk to someone, truly be there. Don't let your mind start planning your response while they are still opening up their heart to you. Listen to the very last word, and when the conversation ends, hold your attention there for just a second before jumping to check your screen. That intentional slowness, that care in your little endings and beginnings, is what clears the air in your mind. It's the highest form of respect for the universe and for yourself. By treating the simple things with care, you realize that life isn't something that happens while you wait for big things to arrive. Life is the dish you wash, the cup you hold, and the door you gently close. How many times have you reacted like a wounded animal to a small provocation? Someone cuts you off in traffic and your entire afternoon is ruined by anger. Someone makes a nasty comment at work and you spend 3 days chewing on resentment, playing out imaginary arguments where you finally prove how smart you are. We are slaves to outside triggers. We are like dry leaves blown around by the wind of our circumstances. Living with purpose is the exact opposite of being impulsive. It's learning to create space between a trigger and your reaction. When your mind is trained in continuous presence, when your lingering awareness is strong, you become unshakable. You become like a deep lake. You can throw a heavy stone into it, but the whole lake won't get stirred up. The stone sinks silently to the bottom, and the ripples on the surface quickly fade, leaving the water like a mirror again. Impulsivity is an automatic straight line, trigger and reaction. There is no thought, no freedom, just biological habit. Continuous presence introduces a sacred pause, trigger, space of awareness, and response. In that space of awareness, you take a breath. You feel the heat in your chest. You feel your wounded ego flaring up, but you choose not to give it control over your mouth or your hands. You watch the aggression or the surprise with the same neutrality that a mirror watches a dark cloud. You know the cloud will pass, but you will still be the sky. By refusing to act impulsively, you reclaim your power. You stop being a victim of someone else's mood or a bad day. Living with purpose means deciding that your peace of mind is not up for sale, and that no one has the power to throw you off balance unless you choose to hand it over to them. How we treat physical objects reveals exactly what's going on in our minds. A messy environment where things are slammed, thrown around, and neglected is the outer reflection of a scattered, noisy, and anxious mind. We think objects don't feel anything, and that's true. But the person who throws their keys on the table, kicks drawers shut, and lets books get ruined on the floor is training their brain in aggression and neglect. The aesthetic of continuous presence is simply the art of taking care. It's understanding that everything around us is part of our daily environment. When you place an object down gently, you are softening your own mind. By sliding a cup smoothly across the counter, you send a signal to your nervous system that there is no danger, that you are safe, and that you can let your guard down. Rushing is always a symptom of fear. Taking care is always a symptom of love. Treat your life with kindness. Don't slam into the world. Walk through life with the lightness of someone who knows they are just passing through. Don't leave a trail of noise and mess behind you. When you clean up your desk at night, do it as a gift for your tomorrow self. When you wipe your car's windshield, do it with the full focus of someone who wants to see the world clearly. This physical kindness immediately bleeds into your inner world. A mind that takes care of its surroundings is a mind that knows how to take care of itself when the storms of pain or loss hit. Outer care is the foundation for inner tenderness. This sounds beautiful in theory, but how do you actually do it tomorrow morning when the alarm goes off and the rush of the day tries to drag you down again? Presence isn't a gift you're born with. It's a skill that wastes away if you don't practice it. Here are 3 practical, immediate tools to build a steady, uninterrupted mind, starting today. First, the 3-second follow-through rule. The next time you finish a daily task, like locking a door, turning off your computer, drinking a glass of water, or hanging up the phone, don't instantly jump to the next thing. Stand completely still for exactly 3 seconds. Look at the object you just touched. Feel the last breath leaving your lungs. Make sure the action is completely finished before you let your mind map out the next step. This tiny pocket of residual pause will act as an anchor, keeping the day's stress from building up in your chest.
Second, the single task ritual. Pick one activity that you usually do completely on autopilot. Brushing your teeth, washing your hands, or doing the dishes. During this activity, multitasking is strictly banned. If you are brushing your teeth, just brush your teeth. Feel the freshness of the toothpaste, the rhythmic motion of the bristles, the feeling of your bare feet against the bathroom floor. If your mind tries to wander to work or replay an old problem, gently bring it back to the physical sensation, as many times as it takes. Turn a boring chore into your daily meditation. And third, mindful conversation closings. When you talk to someone in person or on the phone, make a deliberate effort not to be the first one to tune out. Listen to the very last word with absolute presence. And when they finish speaking, don't jump right in with your answer. Leave a single second of silence between their last word and your first sentence. This tiny gap won't just improve your conversation, it shows the other person they were truly heard, building a level of respect that rushed words can never copy. In the end, the archery of life isn't about how many times you hit the center of the target. It's about the posture you keep after the target is gone. Life isn't a test you need to pass as fast as possible. It's a canvas where you paint your own awareness with every single move you make. Autopilot gives you the illusion of speed, but it robs you of the actual experience of living. Messy endings fill your mind with noise, blinding you to the opportunities right in front of your eyes. The next time you feel anxiety tightening your chest and haste pulling at you, stop. Feel your feet on the ground. Remember the lesson of the bow and arrow. Don't chase after tomorrow. Don't try to force the arrow forward with a tired mind. The person who learns to inhabit every tiny second of their life with absolute presence discovers there is nothing to fear in the future, because the future always dissolves before the immense power of a steady mind. Let me know in the comments, what is one small, everyday chore that you are going to start treating as a sacred ritual of absolute presence today? Let's build the art of taking care together. Thank you for letting me share these words with you in your quiet moment today. Subscribe if you're ready to quiet the noise of autopilot and reclaim ownership of your days. Until next time.